Hi everyone. I'm coming to you today from my laundry room. I don't know if this is going to work out well for teaching, but I'm going to give it a try. I have made a little whiteboard that I will be using, and we'll see how that works. I might be moving to other parts of my house as we go along, but I'm glad that you tuned in to take a look at this video, and I hope that you will do this with each video that I send to you. These are intended to help you continue learning during this time. I will be doing lessons that are similar to the kinds of lessons we might have in the classroom. Obviously, the difference is that we don't have interaction with one another, which makes it really difficult for me because I'm used to teaching that way. I'm not particularly used to doing videos of myself and simply doing all of the talking like this. I love to have eye contact with my students, and I like to hear my students' ideas and thoughts and hear their questions. So this is a little uncomfortable for me in that way. However, this is definitely one good way to utilize technology and keep us connected. I do still want to hear your thoughts and your ideas and your questions. You will just need to send those to me as we go along. You may email, text anytime. If you want to know more about something that I've shared with you, or if you want to share a thought with the entire group, we have one another's email and texts so that we can make that a group text if we want. So please feel free to give that kind of feedback. Tell me also if you can hear me well, if you can see me well, if I'm going too slow or too fast. All of that will be important for me. I will be working from notes that I have in front of me here on the washer and the dryer. And sometimes I might have to stop and find what I need. So bear with me. I thank you for your patience. These videos do require that we know you have received each one. If you will simply give a thumbs up or smiley face, or write a few words if you would like at the bottom of each email in the comment section. You can say, "Hi Terry." You can say, "I have a question about something." Or again, you can just give an emoji. That way we know as teachers, and also the ESL department will know that our process is working, that students are receiving the lessons in their homes. And I thank you for doing that as well. I suggest that maybe you keep a space at home where you can sit quietly, whether it's late at night or early in the morning, or any time that's good for you. Keep a space ready with the tools that you need, your paper, your pens, your pencils, your highlighter. And you might also consider using two devices, having your laptop or your tablet to view the video, and then maybe keeping your cell phone ready if you need to look up a word or check some sort of information as we are working together. So you might want to have things prepared in a way that's easy for you. I do think that during this time, I know each of us is very focused on taking care of our family, meeting the needs of other people in our homes. And that's what we want to do. That's what we should be doing. I also think, though, that it is a good time for us to take some time, personal time for ourselves, to step away from our responsibilities of being a husband or a wife, a parent, a grandchild, whatever it might be that is happening in our home, to step away from that and do something that's good for us and that maybe takes our mind away from all of these problems that we're feeling and that are happening around us in our world. So hopefully this learning experience will be something that you do for yourself and that you find just the right time of day to do that. I will be sharing lessons that will usually be built around an article, a news story, or perhaps we will use some fiction and some nonfiction articles that maybe aren't current events, but they are items that I think would be of interest to you. So I will be sending those for you to pre-read and to be thinking about before we meet together. We will have some questions for discussion and things like that you can reflect on at home, do some writing. Occasionally I will ask you to share that with me. We may have some multiple choice and things of that sort also that I will send to you. We will also be doing grammar and vocabulary similar to what we might do in class. Topics that are higher level topics. They may be a review of something that you know, but because we're working towards enhancing our conversational English as well as our written English, I will try to choose topics that I feel are most important, most useful to you. So I will begin with one today. We have done tricky pairs in the classroom. I think that probably you have in your notebooks actually the little form that I have given you for tricky word pairs. You might want to find that sometime and take a look and create something similar or just make notes. Tricky word pairs are combinations of words, pairs of words that sound very much the same. It's possible that they could sound exactly the same as in the case of a homophone. But most of the ones that I will present to you do have a slightly different pronunciation and a different spelling. And then their meanings are quite different. So the ones we're going to do together today are, first, advice and advise. Advice is a noun and advise is a verb. When I think about advice, I think about guidance, or recommendation. All of us have given advice. Sometimes it's asked for, and sometimes we give advice without being asked for that. And oftentimes if we haven't been asked for the advice that we give, someone will say, I don't really want to hear your advice, okay? I know a few people who like to give too much advice. But generally when we give advice, we intend for that to help another person, to give guidance to perhaps a decision that they are making, or to help them with a problem that they are experiencing. My dad's advice was always spoken with love. And that's actually very true for me. But I always knew that if my dad gave me some advice, it was because he really cared about me. He wanted the best thing for me. And sometimes the advice might not be that easy for me to hear because maybe it wasn't what I was hoping, but I knew it was given with love. I accepted Pablo's advice about where to purchase a new oven. Sometimes we ask someone to give us advice on how to do something. In this case, Pablo is giving advice to me about where to purchase a new oven. I appreciate that because Pablo is a builder and he sees lots of ovens, and I have a feeling that Pablo can help me make the best choice. So once again, my dad's advice was always spoken with love. I accepted Pablo's advice about where to purchase a new oven. Advise, on the other hand, is to offer guidance or recommendation. To offer guidance or recommendation. Lately, we've been advised about a lot of things. Certainly, I know in my life as a U.S. citizen, I've never been advised so many times about health, what to do, how to manage during this period. The realtor advised us to list our home for sale in March instead of January. So sometimes we seek advice, and the person who we have sought to receive this advice advises us. In this case, we've asked the realtor, when should we list our house this winter? The realtor advised us to wait until March. And sometimes we request that somebody advises us. Please advise me about how to deal with my teenage son's behavior. Please advise me about how to deal with my teenage son's behavior. So we request advice by asking, please advise me. Advice and advise, a tricky word pair, but now you got it. Next, let's look at this tricky word pair. All together. And this is a phrase. And all together, which is an adverb. All together and all together. Obviously, they sound identical because this is a phrase, you might hear that little tiny bit of a space in between the words. All together as a phrase refers to all in a group, all at once. All in a group or all at once. Usually this refers to people, but not always, certainly. There were 75 students all together in the orchestra. That's what made up the orchestra. Those students and there were 75 altogether there in that room or on that stage in the orchestra. Let's read this passage all together, said the teacher. The teacher requesting that we come together as a group to read this passage. All together as an adverb is interesting, and I think that if you can follow this well, you will be able to use it in your writing and use it in your speaking in the appropriate way. Altogether as an adverb refers to completely, or totally, and I like to think of it almost as a feeling, okay? I think that might make sense to you in this sentence. Our vacation in Alaska was an altogether thrilling experience. I'm not talking about a group of people here. I'm talking about this completely, totally new experience. So, to check that, I could substitute completely. I could substitute totally. I could substitute entirely. To describe that feeling that I have about something, in this case, the trip to Alaska. Here's one that's very current. Home quarantine is an altogether new way of life for most of us. Home quarantine is an altogether new way of life. It's totally, entirely, and completely new. But we're stuck in it, right? All together and all together. I hope that's helpful. The last one, and I think I'm going to have to do this in 2 minutes because I'm supposed to stop at 20 minutes. So I'm going to do this one really fast. And it is compliment or compliment. 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 All right. I see that I'm probably not going to make it within 20 minutes, so I believe that I will be finishing this one on the next segment. Right now, you might just want to make a note of the 2 words, and I will pick up with this on our next segment. Watching the clock is also not something that I'm used to doing very well, as you know, from sitting in class with me. But I will stop and try to hold to the 20 minutes. I hope you all have a good day, a good evening, whatever time it is when you're viewing this, and take care of yourselves as you take care of others. I will be available to you, so text or email anytime. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.